Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Vivid Earth. Today, I've got a very special guest, someone that I've been listening to for a long time, Rising Phoenix Aurora. I first saw Aurora a couple of years ago with Laura Eisenhower, and I love the information that they brought, and I love the information that Aurora brings. She is basically a galactic historian. She's the founder of A.U.R.A. Hypnosis and Healing, and the Rising Phoenix Mystery School. She's also an author, a spiritual revolutionist, a channel to Ra, and an Akashic reader. All the things that I love. So welcome, Aurora.
Thank you. Thank you. Such an honor to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me upon your show. What a joy. And yeah, we got to chat a little bit right before we came on, and it's just incredible. So thank you for having me on Vivid Earth.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you for the introduction.
Loves the information that you bring forward. And yeah, it's quite a wide variety of information, from finance and intel all the way to way out on the metaphysical and mystery school scale. So it's quite diverse, and so is my audience. They are schooled and well read on a wide variety of information. So I'm sure they would love the information that you bring. So yeah, just to tell you a bit more about Aurora, her career started as a past life regressionist in 2017, I believe, and she started through a practice hypnosis session on her husband. The R.A.A.H collective surprised them by speaking through him. And that's where it all started. I know that you're a fan of Dolores Cannon as well, Aurora, who I am a big fan of as well. And she was a big part of my awakening journey as well. I've done the QHHD hypnosis. I'm dying to know, what are the differences? What is it about Aurora or A.U.R.A. hypnosis, sorry, that is different from the QHHT?
Yes. Very good questions. I mean, Dolores is such a big part of so many people on Earth, and you can't really put a limitation, a confinement on, especially as we pass on. The spirits that are here on Earth, they're tremendous, a tremendous soul she is. I remember part of even doing that surprise past life regression on my husband. Like to say, I'm not just a past life regressionist. I am very much a seer. I remote view as well. I am just everything that I can do, just expanding my abilities. I do online workshops and retreats, and I teach people how to really walk the most organic timeline for them. So the biggest thing on my path is basically entity removal, removing the inversions within us. We don't realize our soul, how expansive our soul is, just not only here limited to this earth, but then also how in this current incarnation, how we are also really in many forms living out some of the past lives, that is, and even in some examples, higher dimensions where different, for example, the archon, the artificials that we talk about, the AI, how we're living out some of what happened to us in different experiences. And here we are in the final battle, the final showdown here on Earth, going through that karma. So back to Dolores, she was a big awakening to that, because even before I did that test, just for fun session on my husband, I was actually, I wouldn't say asleep, but I was pretty asleep. I had just discovered actually Dolores a month before I did a session on my husband. And before that, I was already having dreams, and it was a process. And for the first year, and this happened she came to me when in 2017 officially. Yep. And then so all of 2016 I kept having dreams, the most interesting dreams, with this Caucasian female, and she would show herself in her 40s. And remember, like, I was asleep, so I didn't know anything about spirituality. My team always kept me like just kind of like busy with my family, focusing on my children, my husband. They were my number one. So one day they told me, oh, you're going to be busy. You're going to be busy later on, and you just, focus on your children. And I always kept hearing that voice over and over. So yeah, all that preparation, and currently I'm actually at 630 sessions. Yeah, which is a lot, because through aura hypnosis, our sessions take at least typically about 4 to 5 hours. 627 sessions. So that's alone just an aura. Then I do Quantum Galactic. I am the founder of Quantum Galactic Akashic Reading, as well as aura hypnosis healing. Along with the aura 600, and then the readings are about 900 sessions alone.
Wow.
And then the raw Reiki is another probably 700. So it's just incredible. A couple, at least 4,000 people I've seen. So the minute she came to me, that's how fast it went. It was, let's go. How can we assist the collective? And she knew how clear I was in my heart, because everything we teach is about love. And one of the things I came into spirituality, she started showing me, like in dream time, before I officially woke up, when I met her in 2017, through that session I did on him, my husband. She was showing me like different things. She was putting me through different kind of tests in dream time, and also in my life. And she would see how I would evolve. In one of the dreams, she took me to that school. I read a couple of her books, not too many, because got really busy after that. But in one of the books that I read, she was in this like university, spiritual university. It was all like white tall buildings, and before I even knew who she was, that's where she was taking me. She was taking me to this building, and I would go up an elevator, and I would go to her office, and it was all white space, and she would ask me questions, and she was so so beautiful but feisty, right? And then she'd be like, "You're not ready, come back later." And I'd look at her in the dreams, and I'd be like, "But I don't even know who you are, and what am I not ready for? What are you asking me questions about?" So that was and then I would just go down the elevator. I was like, this is crazy, this late. And then I would wake up and tell my husband, it's like, this Caucasian lady, I have no idea who she is. I don't know her name. I just know she's a Caucasian 40, again. And she also showed herself a lot thinner in the dreams. And she just keeps stalking me, and that's what I tell him. She just keeps stalking my dreams, because she would keep showing up throughout the year and telling me how I needed to evolve. So that's just one of the dreams. I mean, another one I could share is, well, what are dreams, right? Like, dreams are not just dreams or visions. They're really, visions of the third eye and memories of what you're doing in the quantum realm, especially in the delta brain, when you're sleeping, when you are at your most powerful and you're not limited to your physical form. But another one is, she took me to Atlantis, and she it's like she created this space. It was like this sacred temple, and then she brought me in, and she had another female with me, which now I know was my higher self. So it was my higher self and her. And then they had me laid in this emerald bed, and they had like crystals above me, kind of like carousels, like above a baby's crib. And then these crystals were pulling out like density out of me, and then I remember her being very specifically upset and telling me, what did they do to you? What did they do to your heart? And it was important for her to clear my heart. They were just pulling off like pain and trauma and density, right? And then I remember, I think she thought I wasn't supposed to be aware or remembering, because I remember asking her, what are you doing to me? Because I could feel the emerald light coming out of my heart and pulling it out, right? And she's like, we're doing nothing, just lay down. And I was like, so that was just such an incredible journey to be here. Now, so basically, I know, to answer your first question, is aura hypnosis, entity removal, past life regression, is completely not affiliated to QHHC in any form. I'm just sharing specifically how Dolores came and woke me up. And, in my husband's session, told him that I was going to develop a hypnosis regression that was going to be my own, and she's gonna be there to guide me. So it was pretty amazing, because at that time I wasn't again awakened, so I didn't know who Ra was. I didn't know. I had just found her out a month prior with one of their ads of the new Earth, and I was just wowed. So it was such an incredible experience, kind of like just the biggest surprise of my life, when my husband is laying there and I'm doing kind of like a guided meditation on him, testing it out, and she just talks to him and Ra. So it's just their energy, it is an energy that shakes your whole body, like oscillates your body, vibrates it to a whole nother level. And I just remember that very beautiful energy that I was feeling from them, and the love, the most infinite love. But yeah, I'll let you ask questions because I'll keep talking.
No, it's fascinating, fascinating
Great.
stuff. So, why do you think you focusing on entity removal? Is there a specific reason? Is it because of the experience that you went through, or is it just a gift that you have, or what is it that? Why is it that you focus on that specifically?
Yeah. Well, you know, all of us, like growing up, as many clients as I've worked with, I'll talk about like you saw some kind of ghost, you had some kind of supernatural experience, at least one in your life, something. When you look back at your life, right? And then when you talk about it with someone, they tell you that you're crazy and it's not real, right? And they really kind of like close your abilities when they tell you that. They're shutting you down so that, you know, you won't activate further. So it was about that, you know, different experiences throughout my life and remembering how different I felt to others, and really just realized just completely all my life, just allowing my heart to guide me. And as I woke up officially after I met her through my husband after 2017, it just went really fast. And I realized that as I was working with people, they seemed very black, like they had, you know, dark energy in them, something blocking them. And sometimes that dark energy would turn into a voice and would start speaking to you, you know, and would say things that were really kind of like dark. So something they at the minute, I really just kind of like right away, not even like less than 10 sessions, the client who was laying there would say, Aurora, they're stuck, they need your help, channel some source of light to them. Some Reiki would be the best way to explain that. So then I did, all of it is all my clients, all of it. So then they taught me session per session how to evolve aura hypnosis, how to, and every client that would come, it'd be a new thing, because every single session is as different as the soul, as we are all uniquely created by source, right? So it was beautiful to see, like, they had gone to other people and they had said, you know, I feel something is off, something's really wrong with me, something is blocking me. I've done every modality I can think of and I can't heal myself. And that's what they would tell me. So I'd be like, you know, we're figuring it out. You're here with me. We are going to figure it out. And we would. And all it took is for someone to hold the most beautiful love for them and to believe in them and not judge them, not tell them that they were crazy, you know, because I've heard about that. Like people go to, you know, other healers and they tell them that, you know, they should go see a psych, you know, a psychologist and get, you know, put up on prescription drugs. So yeah, every story that people would share, I'd be like, that's not something that I'm going to be like, and I am going to show the spiritual world, the spiritual community of what it is like to operate it in love, because that is truly what was missing back in 2017. I mean, we've seen the world really transcend and grow, but everyone was talking about galactic information, channeling this person and this, but no one was talking about love, and no one was emanating the love through that. I mean, not no one period, but you know,
Yeah,
like
in
if you
general.
know what it was like, it was really dense back then.
Mm.
Also, like if you talked about entities, people would tell you that's not real, that's not something I believe in. So again, it was my clients who pushed me because I believe them. There's no way I'm not going to believe you. And then that's why people kept coming to me, because they
Yeah.
knew that they'd be in safe hands with someone who wouldn't judge them.
Yeah. And also, I've heard that a lot of people have entity attachments. It's kind of more every day than we even realize. Some of these entity attachments may be quite small. You know, think about people who drink a lot that kind of change personality when they get drunk, that kind of thing, or
Yeah.
just somebody that acts out of character, for example. Like I've heard that they look for that little they latch onto that little bit of trauma or darkness or whatever it is, and they will latch onto it, and they're gonna sit there, and they're gonna, you know, as long as they get fed and get what they need, they're gonna stay, right?
Yes, exactly. So changes in personality sometimes is something that's kind of like taking over you. and you don't know what it is, and something that is messing with your emotions, what your thoughts are, your actions, your decisions, it's really an entity. Now these entities have been attached to you starting from sometimes this life, but some of them have, I think the oldest entities we found were like millions of years attached to the soul through a galactic experience that they had millions of light years or whatever, millions of years ago. And they had, say, a reptilian attached to them, integrated into their DNA. So yeah, even to come to Earth, sometimes you do agree and contract to come to Earth to be a matching vibration to the lowest dimension of the third dimension in communal life in the universe. So sometimes you have to densify to come in, or you come in through a pretty dense mother or father, which then densifies you enough to be a matching vibration. So you are coming to the lowest dimension where we are farthest from source. And yeah, there's much that sometimes we have to kind of like give up and to densify our soul, and a lot of that is the memory. So I really love everything that we teach is like you regaining your memory to remember who you are as this beautiful divine soul that you are, and how to not consent. We teach that over and over. How to not consent to those entities and how they can influence your life in effect and really put you in inverted matrices, labyrinths that are so dark and mazes that you can't seem to get out of. And you name it, the entities have been dark demons, you know, forms of kind of like devils that are more like archonic things like that. People have been trapped in soul eaters. They taught me everything, like the soul eating thing that just kind of like sucks on the souls and keeps them in this inverted matrix where they can't get out of. Lack of abundance, lack of health, lack of motivation. They can't get things done. They're, you know, all these things that you can't accomplish. It's a lot of it is rooted to hooks, negative portals, you know, implants, negative technologies in you. So we've taught you that, you know, you are your most powerful healer in combination with your higher self and your team. And yeah, you come to me, I know that you can heal because I've seen it over and over. I've seen people heal from blindness, official, legally blind in one week, healing themselves, cancer, not being able to walk, you name it. It's just there. And it's always been an attachment. Wow. They've gone to doctors, other, you know, Reiki, whatever, other healing, past life regression modalities, and they can't heal. I've even seen people heal themselves from the COVID vaccine jab because all it is an AI.
Yeah.
We were talking at the beginning, you know, I was doing videos with R.A.A.H, and we have a show on Rumble, Cosmic Mother Rising show, which I believe you just recently interviewed her. Yeah. And we had those videos out within days, even weeks of when that COVID vaccine rolled out. And I was telling you exactly what it was. And yeah, and we were there. So it's just basically AI attachment. And the biggest thing is that this AI, the Archon just wants to integrate into you. It wants to integrate into your organic, and it figures out how for you to consent, whether it's in a conscious or unconscious level. And yeah, I can keep talking, but I'll let you ask questions.
No, that's fascinating because, you know, I've also, ever since, you know, COVID hit, probably at least by, let's say, April, sort of May, June of that year, I knew something was off from the beginning. But then I started like, something is wrong. I'm going to be doing some research and see what's going on here. And that's what kind of led me down the rabbit hole. And I literally haven't stopped. But I have always seen a link, you know, people were just saying, you know, oh, it's this, it's heavy metals, or it's, you know, this kind of chemicals, or it's snake poison, or this, all these things in the vaccine. But all of those, I guess, is just facilitating. And, you know, my own thoughts were also that, you know, somehow, yes, the AR control us through the heavy metals in the vaccine, but somehow it's also looking to morph our DNA into perhaps more of a reptilian DNA with the snake venom and stuff and DNA that they've put in there. And we know a key feature of reptilians is actually that they lack any kind of emotion or empathy. And that's what kind of keeps them going. And in a way, most of them are kind of controlled by AI as well, right? Things like emotion and empathy are just useless things that, according to them, no one needs. But that is actually our superpower in a way, isn't it?
Yes. Well, that brings us to book 1, because book 1 taught us about reptilians and how they're actually they were organic beings just like we were, but they just basically have the AI full control. They signed their contract away like kind of like the Archon Artificial was. So this is book 1 and book 2. Book 2 goes into the Archon, the Artificial. This one goes more into the other negative aliens. So kind of galactic universal history and alien race history there. And so yeah, the reptilians, that's what they're trying to do. So then basically they're a race that the Archon Artificial compromised, contracted, and then their goal is to, because of the fact that they're reptilians, I've learned so much. I mean, the first book is, I think it's like 700 pages.
Gosh, you've been busy.
Yeah. So much about them, like basically it's kind of like in the movies you see how, or even in science now, like how lizard, you cut the tail off and it could regrow itself. So they use that function in all these different types of races of reptilians, different, you say cousins of reptilians, all different forms, like, and then they figured out how to keep them in these labyrinth matrices. So they take the souls and they put them in these kind of like black cubes, and they keep them there trapped, and their consciousness is no longer free. So that was long ago when the artificial started spreading the virus in the universe. And we've also heard that it's also reached the multiverse. In book 2, we go into the final battle of the multiverse, where this Archon Artificial gets eradicated, and we remove it through all lifetime and space, and we go back to no longer having any AI, harming people, like pedos and raping and killing people. That's all done after that. So book 2, check that out, because that's the final showdown, the final battle, which was again through my clients, but especially in book 2, like half of it's my channel information, and then from the divine, from the angels, from my higher self. Really, Divine Mother kind of just speaks to me all the time. Divine Mother Sophia, Divine Mother, the Phoenix, our universe. So I'm just basically the scribe. I'm just sharing what they're saying, and I share both through my clients, and then both what I get for myself from them. Yeah. So yeah, the reptilians. So then they cut off the tail, and then they can basically, like, parts of them. And in book 1, the very first chapter, it's like their very first experiments, where they are trying to figure out how to penetrate. There's like these reptilians, and it looks like, say, an Illuminati, Freemason kind of thing. They have a child naked on an altar, and they're together. They're all reptilians, and they're taking this piece of themselves, and it's like this black ball with like spikes, which reminds you of the COVID vaccine, because that's some of the things that we find in people. And then it's going into their body. It's trying to penetrate the little child. In one perspective, there's 2 little children that were shown through this past life memory. One child is not able to fight it. They don't have enough of a force field and shield source of light to basically not allow for it, and it comes in and it becomes the child. And then the child, then it completely changes, like they become a hybrid, and this dark venom kind of spreads in their body. Reptilian ink is what we can explain to that. And then
connected to the black as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So we know the consistencies to all those things like that are being found, especially with the COVID jam. Okay, so then this thing goes in, and it controls, as the child's no longer themselves, it is now a spy. So this is like some of the beginning times, like Sumerian times. So this is what's kind of happening, and that beginning of, abducting children, human trafficking, child trafficking, and you're already seeing it then. But then in the other perspective, there's a child who is strong, and that's my client, and she is fighting it off. She's a boy, but she's fighting it off. In this life, she's a girl, and they're not able to penetrate her, so they get, kind of like pissed off, and they just kind of end her. But yeah, it is. And so it's all about like experiments, all that experimentation that we've seen through wars, like the Hitler War, like all those experimentations through MK Ultra and so on. It's that whole experiment of how they study us, they watch us, the intelligence, the artificial intelligence, and then how can they mess with us to make them into their pawns and their minions. So that's our goal, is to teach you how not to allow to be their puppet anymore, and to be your divine, powerful source being as you were always meant to be.
Mm.
We're born from source. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, they've been at it for a very long time. You know, people don't understand today. And some people refuse to believe this is even possible. You know, and I tell them this is not something that just came along over the past few decades. It's been around for thousands of years. And these people, or these beings, are super advanced and they use AI. So we're not a match for them at this point. However, we do have superpowers if we choose to step into that superpower and switch it on and be committed to it and open the heart, because as you say, that's the key really to a lot of our superpowers. And but it's a difficult one to explain to some people, you know, but most people in
And it's
this
mostly
community are
because,
awake and aware.
say it again. Say it
I'm
again.
saying most of my audience are pretty awake and aware, so
Awesome.
they will understand all of this. You want to
Beautiful.
say?
Yes, and mostly they don't understand it just because they're vibrating, oscillating their soul to a lower vibration, because they mostly have attachments that they don't want to face. They have trauma, past life trauma or child trauma that keeps them dense there. And the entities themselves are telling them, you know, there's something
That's
taking over
nonsense.
them.
Don't believe that.
You know, exactly. But I mean, the truth is that we all incarnated to remove the parasites off Mother Earth, and let's go. Come on, let's remove them.
Absolutely. A lot of
And I
people
teach with love, right? You
Yeah,
remove them with love,
yeah,
because that's the
absolutely.
most powerful way. You could fight, you're going to fight them forever. And that's why one of the biggest lines I always say is, I'm not here to fight these Archon battles. I'm here to end them.
Yeah,
I mean, because you're going to keep fighting them, and they're going to keep you in those inverted games. But when you learn to vibrate to love, I mean, they can't mess with you. They can't penetrate your field, because everything that is not love won't be able to come in.
yeah, absolutely. What a lot of people have noticed, you know, in vaccinated people is now they start to get quite cold and sometimes kind of emotionless, and they're just starting to act a little bit kind of cruel in a way, and some of them are easily triggered or angered. So that's something people are seeing personality changes, you know, in the vax people. And yeah, it's a tough one when you've got family and friends who got the stuff, you know. I was kind of unfortunate, I would say. Just over a year ago, I started being able to smell kind of the nano particles in the vaxxed. So I can literally smell people from a mile away. I would like walk on the pavement
Wow.
and people like 30 meters above in front of me and in a breeze, and I would just like smell it on the breeze, and I would be like, oh no, because I didn't want the stuff in me. So if you are in crowds or close to people, it does tend to kind of rub off on you, if I want to say that. So but hopefully we're pretty close to ending this madness on the planet. But of course, there's still a lot of work to do. You mentioned in an earlier conversation that you, in your book, you write about how it all just comes to an end and there's finally peace and harmony. Is that something that's going to be in our lifetimes, according to?
Definitely our lifetimes. I mean, I think we're pretty young. I'm 43 personally. You know, depends on how old the audience is. I definitely in the next couple decades is always the goal, because like you said, the AI is very intelligent. And if you think about how fast a computer can think, and you compare it to the scientifically, you could look that up. How much faster? I mean, they could think even thousands or millions times faster than we do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're a computer, they're artificial. So along with that, thinking about that, it's really hard. Basically, every timeline that we look upon, looking at timelines, at some point, the AI has won, because humanity has allowed it to, because they don't stand up enough to understand not to allow yourself to become a hybrid or merge yourself with the AI. So, I mean, there's so many timelines happening, right? You got all these inverted timelines. So really, the only way to end to this is to wake up as many as we can, and that's the goal. It's not a question about when, it's about how many we can wake up. And once the Mother Earth, she's the only one that's going to decide. When she decides that she has enough of her children saved, enough of them awoken, she's saved enough children of Earth, especially the little ones, and they're all vibing to love as best as they can, you know, basically not meaning ill intent. if you have to not mean ill intent to ascend out. You cannot mean harm to others, because you will not be a matching vibration to Mother's heart as she expands her phoenix fire, the solar flare, this phoenix eternal flame, and she blasts us out of, well, not blasts us, but phoenix fire wave out of this earth, and we ride with her. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, it kind of leads me into another direction as well. Yeah, I always say people always ask me, so when is all this ending? Like,
Yeah.
we have to get more people on board. There has to be some sort of critical mass for things to shift positively. Then of course a lot of people also talk about the bifurcation of timelines, and even Dolores Cannon, 5D
Yep.
Earth, 3D Earth. When does that split finally happen? Do we need a critical mass for that 5D split to actually take shape in a way? There
We
need to
do.
be enough people to embody that 5D Earth reality, right?
We do. Yeah, I have a whole playlist on YouTube on the bifurcation to the world split. And that's actually when I first started waking up that same year after I had met Dolores in Dreamtime. And in the session, she showed me a dream where I saw the collective of all the divine mothers on earth, the divine feminine, the divine, because that's we're the creator and the destroyer. So we can destroy, but create from it. And I remember seeing this beautiful, sensing, even being part of it as all these beautiful divine mother essences on earth becoming one, unifying. And they were receiving a blast from the sun, but also all of creation and source, this flame that was ignited by them as she's holding the space. And it's also really explained in book 2. And then this flame then splits the Vesica Pisces, the bifurcation, the two world split. And then I literally was part of it because it was a memory for the future, and I was feeling the whole earth and that power and that divine feminine energy who was birthing out and separating herself from the artificial. And yes, two world split, splitting herself, de-shedding that nasty artificial crust, that fake crust. And then there's so much process to that. As you know, I think I have about 800 videos of content, which is a lot of videos. So where we talk more in details about these things.
Wow. So does that mean, do you also kind of agree with the narrative that there'll be a solar flare finally kind of separating, or let's just say solar flare that kind of helps us along in that ascension to a 5D Earth?
Well, if that's what you want to call it, solar flare, but it's basically,
flash, whatever.
We talk about it in book 2. What it basically is source unifying with all the other suns in our universe. They all unify like a crystal grid. And then they shoot down through all times and spaces through our sun. And then I talk about the matrix, the simulation we're in, because the 3D, it is a simulation that we are in to be here, right? And again, I have a playlist on the matrix. So they shoot down, and then basically what happens is that as this shoots down, then only Divine Mother can hold that flame. So that's why they all unify. Mother Earth unifies with all the fractals of her, right? And then they birth out that birthing. So you could call it solar flare, but it's just source flame.
Interesting. And the galactic history. Tell me how all that started taking shape. And I'm sure we need to read your book to kind of get the full picture. But maybe if you can sort of summarize in a nutshell. I know it's a very lengthy topic, but where the galactic history kind of started for you, how it evolved over time for you to encapsulate really of the universe and the multiverse.
It's incredible. Wow. I realized that, it's like Marvel. I mean, all of that is pretty much channeled information from Stanley, who was a positive being, like, just incredible, like these characters that he would just channel. I realized that all of that was real. And even as a little girl, I would sit there, you know, watching different cartoons like X-Men and Spider-Man, and that's all I would watch is them. And if you remember in X-Men, those old cartoons, there's that fight, right, with the Sentinels. And that's one of the last episodes. And then that I watched, I think that's kind of where it ends. And they're trying to go back in history to rewrite the fact that the Sentinels are in charge, and like the Terminator movie, like the Matrix, right? So they're in charge. So yeah, I just remember as a little girl, just knowing this, like I was conscious in my body as a newborn. I remember like laying in that crib and not being able to move my body. And, you know, I remember having telekinesis and switching lights off and on, because that was happening in front of the kitchen where I was laying in my crib, and they thought it was a ghost. But then I had to go through the density, shutting those abilities down. So it's like you go through all your life, you know, for your protection, because otherwise you're going to end up in MK Ultra programs. So you go through all your life and you're like, wait a minute, what? And then you realize that all these like galactic history, all these beings have been talking to you, and you realize, oh, they all register at a different frequency. And who are they? And, you know, Yeshua, is this Mother Mary? Is this Dolores? Is this, you know, Divine Mother Sophia? You know, all these different alien races that I've channeled, like Andromedans, Pleiadians as well. And then making it very clear, because sometimes people are really channeling not really the real aliens, the benevolent aliens. They're really channeling malevolent aliens. You know, we've been taught to be too gullible and too trusting, and then the minute we wake up, we get too excited and we just kind of allow anything and let not only people but aliens overstep our boundaries. So it's really important that you understand that the minute you wake up, you really want to set boundaries, intentions on who you're going to allow to speak to you. So as I learned all of that myself, it was very important to me right from the beginning. They said, do not ever allow yourself to become infringed upon. And it's been really, really important to me that I don't let anyone infringe upon me. Now, have they tried? Absolutely. You know, you go to a grocery store, somebody's trying to infringe upon you, you know? So doesn't mean that they've been allowed to do so. And that, you know, so then as I learned through myself, then I learned, and even then when I would channel like different alien beings, I would very strongly, so I have a courses, right, like quantum alchemy channeling, so you can channel them very safely, incredibly safely, because it's basically only source of light, and it's just like so immense. It's like 6 hours worth of teachings there. And so one of the things that I started learning was I engulfed myself in rings of fire. And if you are source of light, you can step through this fire of source purifying flames. And if you are not, you won't be able to step through. It's not going to happen. So if you can't step through, you can't talk to me. You can channel through me. So, you know, things like that, where you have been taught to be docile, to be, you know, a good listener, to, you know, shut your mouth and whatever. So no, I've taught you to be a spiritual revolutionist, because that's what I'm really known for. And no, be you, stand strong, and don't care about what others think of you. You're here to save yourself, your loved ones, and to save the world. And sometimes those people who are very false, you know, they try to act like your friends and they're not. So even aliens. So that's really important, because they could give you all sorts of false information. I've had clients who are channeling books, like pages and pages, and they realize, oh my God, wait a minute, some other stuff started seeming off. I feel like I've been talking to a reptilian who told me that they were Archangel Michael or Yeshua. You know, they were pretending to be them. So we really teach you how to read the frequency to who you're speaking to be safe. Most importantly for you, because you've been taught to not take care of yourself, to self-sabotage, to harm yourself. It's not just physical, it's mostly energetically. How are you harming yourself? Yesterday I taught Archangel Raphael channeling class, where you learn how to basically the human anatomy, the human body, and the human DNA, and it was tremendous. It was almost 5 hours. We were talking about, like, people were asking, like, what do you think about, like, those medications they give people, like, for the thyroid, and then it basically, because you have thyroid issues, but in actuality, you've been harming your thyroid over and over. Your thyroid, you've been harming yourself. Your thyroid has been trying to heal itself, but you keep giving it this medication. I have to say, I'm not a licensed physician, but you keep giving it this medication that is constantly all day long in a battle. That's what your thyroid is going through. So seeing your body more like it's an embodiment of nature and beauty and Mother Earth, and you are just as beautiful as Mother Earth, because we are living on Mother Earth, who is this gigantic living organism, which we've been finding, giant, you see the mountains, it looks like a lady laying down as a giant. You see elephants like literally petrified, which that is huge. And I've had the most powerful series, Tartaria, and beyond the walls of Antarctica and Tartaria, we've been talking about all this giant world. So yeah, we all channel. It's whether we choose what we're channeling, whether it's more positive, more negative, an emotion, what are we channeling? And yeah, choose your frequency like a radio station.
Mm-hmm. And I heard talking about giants that they're busy waking up as well, and hopefully rejoining just with like the Tartarians, our society, and we will have access to them. So that's super interesting. And I've heard also that a lot of the children that are born now, they're very tall, like taller than their parents. So it's like the Titans are kind of, that DNA is being reawakened, and they're coming back in a way, which is super exciting. I actually know a tall kid like that. It's just unbelievable. It's like, I don't know, 8 foot or something. Yeah. And he's like 17. It's like crazy.
Yeah, Donald Trump, his son, right?
Yeah, him as well. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think he's like almost 7 feet or something. So yeah, the DNA just rewrites itself.
Very interesting. Now I'm sure, there's obviously a huge concern with people. There's a lot of channelers out there, and not everyone channels benevolent entities. And I bet there's a ton of them on YouTube with huge followings that supposedly is channeling Archangel Michael, various benevolent beings, including Pleiadians, etc., without kind of pointing fingers or naming names. What is your experience? Are there many of them out there that people should be aware of? And beware.
Well, I can share with you my clients' experiences, because it's crazy just to understand that energy is energy. So even if you listen to someone who is supposedly, say, channeling an Arcturian, I gotta tell you, first of all, Arcturians beings are very, very particular. They're star beings. Excuse me. So they're only gonna vibrate to source of light. Okay. So if you're not feeling love from the person who's channeling them, this is most likely not an Arcturus being, or really any benevolent being. You should be feeling tons of love from them. So, I mean, I've had clients who listen to, say, for example, this Arcturus being, they're channeling supposedly an Arcturus being, and something comes in through the video, because remember, I mean,
they can
communication doesn't exist. It's just all energy, right? It comes in through the video as they're listening, and then like this virus comes in. It's supposed to, take over their body, and it's supposed to stop them directly from ascending out ever. And it's like this dark virus. So basically, that this person is channeling now, and you're allowing them to communicate to you. So it's really important that you understand that when people are channeling, they're a bit in a theta brainwave. So not only are they altering their brainwave, but you just don't know what they're channeling. Are they channeling benevolence or malevolence? And when they then they're also in some form, especially if they're not operating in love, they're placing you in a hypnosis in some form. Because I mean, the brain is tremendous. Those neurons, the brain waves, I mean, they're like waves in and out. So you're listening to them, you're also kind of being placed in that form. And then at that point they're attaching. through a video, through a meditation, you name it. So then that's why it's really important that more of the people who are, if you really want to reach an audience and really assist, remember, you're here to assist, not to infringe upon people. I mean, maybe some of these people need to go through that and like infringe on others to balance out some kind of karma. I don't know, because everyone has a different path, right? But I also believe that everyone's purpose is needed too. So I live in this world where I understand, I don't consent and I don't agree to people infringing on others, but then I also understand that in some form, maybe that person needed to go through that experience to teach them, to help them grow. And because you learn discernment, you do grow from experiences like that. But then I also see people who are, who claim that they're channeling like these galactic beings, and they're really just channeling the Illuminati because they have an implant in them.
Yeah, I believe that's very common as well, much more common than people realize. Having
an implant in them. Yeah, channeling that Illuminati person, just kind of like typing in what they want them to say. And then you have, so what, to answer your question, how you said a lot of them have thousands of followings. Like that's something that they tend to do to my channel, is just they shadow ban all of them. Can you believe I've been the same subscribers for like years in YouTube? This does not move. That's unheard of. Like even like I'm on TikTok too. And I have one point, like on Google, you research like my name under TikTok, and I have a screenshot of it. It said, I can't remember if it said millions of people had been watching. I think it was 98, or either it was 30 or 98, one of those. I could look for it, but I don't want to look for it. But and I screenshot it because I knew they were going to change it. 1 month later, it's gone, and now it doesn't say how many viewed me. So we have millions watching me on TikTok, but now it only shows like that, a couple, some thousands, right? So that's what they do. The system, this AI system, on purpose, keeps showing you the people who are vibrating to artificial, because they want you infringed upon again in their matrices. So they also amp up their views rapidly. Yeah. Like, people I don't listen to that just doesn't feel right. Well, I don't listen to anyone just because my divine team tells me to focus on what I gotta do, and so I won't be influenced by others. But their videos will pop up for me, like people who I know, because I've helped clients heal from what they received infringements from these people, and all these videos are popping up, and I'm like, I don't even follow them, I'm not even subscribed to them, because they're showing me, like the angelics, they're showing me that basically how the system amps them up until you click subscribe. And once you click subscribe, what are you agreeing to? What kind of contracts are you agreeing to? Something I teach you, like every single motion that you do, you have to do it in a very sovereign form, where maybe you could definitely follow someone that you subscribe and hit like, especially if you're loving their information. But be cautious when you kind of even just hit subscribe, because some people, especially if they're channeling Illuminati, Freemasons through their implants, you're agreeing to negative contracts to be abducted. I've had clients who become UFO abducted just by hitting subscribe to YouTube channel, that could have hundreds of thousands of followings. I mean, I could talk all day about this stuff.
It's a danger zone and people don't even know.
Yeah, it's like landmines.
Crazy stuff. And I guess with that also is, things like psychic attacks that people need to be aware of. Would you say it's been sort of decreasing or increasing in terms of where we are now? We do seem to be moving sort of into a lighter place in the galaxy, if you will, or more into the photon belt. But do you see that subsiding, or there's still a lot of kind of psychic attacks and infiltration happening?
I think there's always going to be unfortunate psychic attacks, energetic attacks, psychic attacks, so long as AI is here. So not till the AI is completely eradicated, like I said, then it's going to be continuing. It's going to continue to fight and try to have control, because that's its overall goal, the narcissist control over others. So it's not going to have, it's not going to evolve. But yeah, it's not going to evolve. I mean, you've seen it. Everything you join now, it says, consent to AI, recorder, AI here, AI here. That's just, You know, I mean, there's even some school systems that have now their curriculums are made by the AI, you know?
Yeah.
It's here, I was talking to children where they go to school and every single literature story that they read this year, one was of a woman who was pregnant, and they had to read this book, write a summary about it, an essay. So she was pregnant. She goes kind of crazy. She kills her husband. She then, okay, this is school, right? Then cuts him up, butchers him, puts him in the oven. The cops come in and they're like, what happened to your husband? She feeds them her cut up husband. Okay, I'm talking about grammar school. This is for real. So and she gets away with it, killing her husband, and she feeds her husband to the cops. And I could tell you some more. So it's just insane. You know, this AI is disgusting.
Yeah, it's time to kind of normalize things for us, and it's time trying to seed I can't speak now, certain things into our subconscious. Like, you know, that's what they do. They just like desensitize us to certain things, like they do now. You know, the whole transgender thing, and now it's Satanism. They're just trying to desensitize you. In the concerts, in the shows, you just see these like rituals on stage, and people think it's cool. You know, they just don't see what it really is. And
Yeah.
slowly but surely, they just bring more and more and more into the environment.
But I think the world is really evolving though, because in one perspective we're seeing that, like, but it's the whole Vesica Pisces, the bifurcation, the world split. In their world, they're experiencing the inverted as they align and agree to it. But in our world, we're seeing more magic, which is a lot of what I see. And especially when I do retreats, people literally see giant angels flying in front of them. They see the sea, like fog part, and they see islands that you are not there on Google Maps. You know, they see the earth lift, orbit higher to the stars. It's just like incredible, these things that happen. So, but that's because we're operating in the organic part of earth, where we're seeing the magic and we're allowing the magic, things like the aurora borealis. We understand that that's our essence for aura. We're allowing these beauties to be part of our world. So choose wisely what world you want to vibrate to. So in that perspective, I feel a lot of people are waking up to the organic part of. They're waking up and they're standing up. Yeah.
And to be honest, I think, you know, some of these satanic shows we've been seeing, in a way, has also been orchestrated by the Alliance to really kind of wake people up and say, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure? Like, are you going to wake up now? You know, there's like Sam Smith, you know, dressed as a Satanist with horns and full on black and red. It's like, okay, guys, it's time to wake up, because here it is. So in a way, it's also kind of being done very overtly, I think, so that, you know, people will realize that who's been asleep, that this stuff has been going on forever. But it's interesting. I got a really bad psychic attack last year. I interviewed a legend in the spiritual community. She's written 20 books. And after that interview, I got so sick. And, you know, I was in a rush. Normally I kind of, you know, set up some protection and, you know, get into the zone before the interview. And I was in a rush and I just didn't do it. And then afterwards, the person that connected me with her was saying that he pulled out of a conference, and other people who he's connected with that person as well got psychically attacked, like loads of people. But I think it was an entity that she became kind of lax. So she didn't do all the protection that she was supposed to be doing. So that was actually kind of unconscious. It wasn't with intention that she did it, but that entity managed to get through to other people through these interviews. And I've just never experienced something like that.
That's what I was getting.
I was so sick.
Yeah.
And I had like, you know, 2 or 3 psychics trying to help me, and they all said like just the black goo came out of my stomach. They were just pulling out black stuff. Like it was horrific. I've never felt so bad in my life.
What a perfect example to teach us to shield, right? But then also you need to learn that experience to make sure you from there on set your boundaries. Especially when you're interviewing, it's you know, you are, you know, I obviously don't consent to any of your infringements, and I would never only share love with you. So, you know, so you have to set those boundaries because in that time and space, a lot is happening.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so it sounds like this person would have, I don't know who it is, but a dark collective of negative aliens attached to them that is harming
Yeah.
the people listening, every, you know, reading books and whatever.
Yeah. But apparently
Yeah.
this entity just really hated my guts, and he just came for me. It was like
And I
almost
think he was just pissed off that you didn't let him in.
oh,
So
okay. That's what you're getting. He was just like, he was
yeah,
really pissed off at me. And there was like, even like there was a storm brewing, and like we lived against the mountains. Even the clouds were like, you know, dark. And I just felt like it was like coming for me. It was a incredible experience. But
definitely feels like the archons. So that's what it feels like. That frequency that you're talking about, I could, you know, what an archon feels like. So that would be, and it was just kind of pissed off that it didn't have its way with you. You know, still left some stuff behind, but not fully. That's good. That means you're strong.
yeah. And you know, most people that are not, you know, that kind of experience, let's say, with the unseen world like you are, don't realize how powerful they are and how much divinity they have within them, you know. And it's just really like stepping into that humbly, not with arrogance, but just really understanding that you are made of divine light.
Exactly.
And that's, you know, ultimately how you step into your highest timeline. Now, speaking about timelines, do you see currently other people have been saying to me that there's a collapse of timelines right now? We're kind of collapsing different timelines into one. There will be like one major timeline for us moving forward. Would you say that's accurate, or how do you kind of see it?
There's no way that timelines, the way timelines work, there's no way that they can be collapsed into one. Just, it's not even possible. There's too many parallel Earths. There's too many planets. There's too many. The multiverse in itself wouldn't even be able to collapse. The multiverse, every verse is infinite. I mean, it's just not even something possible. It's not possible. Now, I mean, is there a most organic timeline that we want to have for this specific Earth? Absolutely. And at that timeline, the timelines are created in a millisecond. Every second you're alive, both individually and collectively. How could you collapse that? Would destruct, actually. It wouldn't even, it's not even organically possible. So I think wherever you heard this from, they're trying to make it into that one timeline, but I mean, we don't have power like that. You know?
Yeah, it you know, it sounded like we're on this obviously ascension journey. So it's like there's like one major timeline kind of being created, if you will, and
Yes, in most organic timeline, but we don't know that timeline till it happens.
yeah, yeah.
Overall, it's always going to be the most organic one.
And do you also see how kind of, you know, the
Yeah.
highest self is now integrating into this physical vessel in a way? Or again, is that something that is not possible?
How the higher self is what? Say it again.
Kind of integrating, kind of collapsing
Oh,
into
absolutely. I wouldn't say collapse, but
not
integrating.
collapsing.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, like the higher self, we keep growing as we keep growing with Mother Earth. We keep expanding and growing with her. And then parts of us, and we become more and more our higher self. I mean, we're actually we are our higher selves.
Yeah.
Our personality is our higher self and all the different us throughout creation.
It's like remembering who we really are, right? And then at that point, the higher self can actually fully embody within this physical vessel.
Yes.
So, Aurora, with everything that you are channeling and kind of information that you downloading, where would you say in this timeline or this timeline of events are we currently, and how close are we to creating and co-creating a whole new world that is kinder, more peaceful, abundant, and most importantly, rid of this AI?
Well, it's hard to answer because This earth is ever evolving all the time. So, I mean, I can answer that in the organic part of the bifurcation. She's definitely close. Did you notice that the stars have gotten closer?
Some of them definitely are brighter, and they seem to be
They're brighter and
as well.
closer.
Bigger.
Yeah, so a couple months ago, they literally they orbited down from one night to the other.
Huh.
So we started covering that because you could see the little change, but it's like things we got to pay attention because we'll forget, like because of that amnesia. Wake up the next day and just not realize that it happened. So yeah, they used to be a lot farther. So pay attention to how they are now, and then remember how they were when you were younger and how far they were. Far. Okay. So because of that, I mean, yes, the Earth is orbiting closer to ascension, and that means that she bifurcated, like the birthing of she dilated more away from the inverted. So I think we're definitely on a trajectory, but overall, my number one to that is that people need to believe more in the benevolence, and they need to stop being distracted and pulled into false information, because what happens is that you don't believe in you're so being tricked by all these different things that you're allowing to be part of your life, and you don't believe in the benevolence. There could be a literal angel in front of you, and you'll be like, no, you won't see them, so that's the biggest thing. Is like, it's that whole thing, like the Greek gods. We talk about the Greek gods and how they were benevolent beings, and basically they were just like they're giants. They were embodiments of source. And what do you hear everywhere? People talking bad about the gods, and they didn't need worship. That's just all false information that's been downloaded after the last Tartaria reset in 1930s when it started. 1916s, 1930s when it started. So this is all false. So that's how they want you to keep away from the fact that you are God, you are a goddess, you are this being that is gigantic. And the more that you believe that you're not, or you send negative energy to these beings who are there trying to assist you to hold the space for you, they're holding the space. They're with that hand, and you're not taking that hand to help you shift out. So it's about bringing hope, belief back in. And I think that we're having, at least in the Americas, we really are seeing a shift where people are seeing the truth. I can't talk about the rest of the world, but we definitely are seeing it here. I mean, yes, I can talk about the world. I mean, you got some really powerful in the Hispanic world. You got a female who was nominated in Mexico. You have the Argentinian, which he's a lion. He calls himself a lion, and he talks about destroying the falseness. He's literally just kind of like removing every narcissist. Yeah. I mean, every like kind of like dark, kind of corrupt Congress. And then you got also the El Salvador guy who's completely removed that gang that was turned into a satanic ritual. Yeah. So I mean, I think we're changing, we're evolving. Here in the Americas, people are fed up. They're fed up with Biden and his pedo, and they want a positive president to come forth. And that is different, because before they thought Biden could be possibly okay, or Obama or Hillary Clinton could be okay, but we know that they're not. They're pedos, right? So, I mean, when you compare us to what we were and what we are now, yes, we are in a very important, positive, rapid trajectory.
Yeah. Absolutely. People just need to be patient and use this time to work on themselves, to go within, to switch on their own power, not wait for somebody else to come and save them. Yeah, there are forces at work behind the scenes, but we've got to meet them halfway. We've got to fully step into our power in order to really lift this planet into a higher consciousness.
Exactly. Yes. We are our own saviors. It's what we've always taught. And those people who are out there, like you, anyone out there who are whistleblowers, or just anyone who's positive, who doesn't mean, ill intent to children, especially. I mean, we got to support these people and send them love, and just because they do need that. It's a collective choice, a collective agreement. And the more that we send love to these positive beings, the more that we will bring forth organic timelines collectively and see the world change further.
Absolutely. I always tell people, you literally manifest the future into reality with every step that you take. And collectively, you know, everyone that, if there's a sort of a certain level that we all kind of vibrate at, or certain thing that we're all manifesting, or the you know, largest percentage of us, that's what we're going to co-create collectively. So be careful what you think, be careful what you fear, and be careful what you believe the future will be, because you're going to be creating that.
Absolutely. Also be careful, like what we were talking about earlier. You were asking about like kind of like people who get a lot of views. You know, it just shows that sometimes they have a lot of views. It's because it's part of that AI system that's umping it up. But also back to the person that you're talking about, that, you know, you got really psychically attacked through it, that experience. These, you have to be very cautious of what you agree with, because you're making contracts with people that a lot of people who have saved thousands and millions of views and so on, basically just have a contract. That's all they do, is they have a contract, and the AI is going to amp up their data to make them look. And why would you do that? That's just horrible. Why would you do that? No, do it with you do it. You're sovereign, you're strong, you're a powerful creator being.
Yeah.
Powerful manifester. Don't agree to an alien. And that's a common recurring thing in my books, is that people sign their soul away just for the views. But what the heck's the purpose of that? Why did you come to Earth for that?
Yeah.
You didn't come to Earth for that.
Crazy stuff. And you know, people just need to trust whoever needs to hear your content will come to you. You know, that's it. Don't worry about the views or the followers. I mean, they shadow ban us, they ban us, they delete us. I've been banned from TikTok 3 times, twice from YouTube.
Really?
But I keep going, you know, and it's we have to just,
you know, what helps is if you shield your platforms. It makes you, like, yes, there's still the AI there, but it makes you as invisible as possible to the scanners.
I'm gonna try that for sure. Because on TikTok they really didn't like me. Even content that I looked at other people's content, it wasn't even, mine wasn't even close to as risque, shall I say, as their content.
They haven't removed me on TikTok, but I used to get like almost 200,000 views overnight, and now I get like 200.
yeah, they're also completely shadow banning me. Nobody's seeing my content. I had like,
same for me.
early on, like 250,000 views on some of my videos, and then they just shut everything down. When I started my 3rd account, it's like nobody's seeing that content. Like literally. So I've lost interest in TikTok. It's just feel like I'm wasting my time.
It is. That's how I've been feeling the last year. I really stopped posting there.
Yeah.
Not sure.
But that was wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, we could talk hours, but I don't want to keep you going, especially, you know, what happened earlier, a bit of a misunderstanding on times. So I really appreciate the input and the content, and I hope we will do another session on some very interesting topics. And if people want to check out any of the courses that you offer, you still offer one-on-ones as well?
Yep, one-on-one sessions with me, or readings, or I'm the founder of A.U.R.A. Hypnosis, and I do also sessions. I know
you've trained a bunch of people as well, but you still do your own.
Over 400 on Earth. I think it's pretty good, because I do it on my own.
You've been very busy over the last few years.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you for everything that you do for the movement and for Earth. We appreciate you, and we hope to dive into more subjects at a later stage, especially galactic history, which I really want to unpack. But yeah, thank you for this, Aurora.
Thank you.
I'll leave all the links below, so you'll have links to her YouTube, her Rumble, her website, all her courses. Go and check it out, guys. And I'm definitely ordering one of your books for sure. Is it available on Amazon?
Yes, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere actually. Smashwords, just everywhere. Yeah,
Wonderful.
you can find the links under my website, risingphoenixaurora.com.
Awesome.
Yes. All
Thank you
right.
so
Thank
much.
Anina, right? Is Anina? Is that how, did I say that right? Okay,
Yeah.
Anina, thank you. Thank you for having me on Vivid Earth, and thank you for everyone who's listening to this now and in the future. I love you, honor you, and respect you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aurora.
Thank you.